Okay, dear audience here at the venue and dear spectators all behind the broadcast, I warmly greet you all live here from Malmö Arena, Sweden. And I hope that you have sharpened your pickaxes and packed your backpacks with warm clothing, because it's a long but a thrilling way to the top, and I, Gabu Airaksinen, will be working as your mountain guide to lead you between the base camps. That's right, folks. We are ready to open the World Floorball Summit of 2024. This event is brought to you by Eerikkilä Sports Institute, and before we proceed, we should hear some greetings from the representative of the organizer. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the principal of the Eerikkilä Sports Institute, Mr. Antti Jokinen.
All right, thank you, Gabriel. That was a very good start. All right, from my side, welcome to World Floorball Summit, and greetings from Eerikkilä. I think we can change the slide also, Gabu, for this. But for you who don't know, Eerikkilä is located in Finland, as you can see in a picture here. Eerikkilä is a place for people who aim to develop their know-how, people who want to improve their knowledge, and people who would like to improve their well-being. In Eerikkilä, we are working very closely with two sports, football and floorball. And actually, that's why we are here in Malmö, in Sweden, at the same time when the championships are played. Our location in Finland, it's very peaceful. As you can see in the picture, we have lakes, the nature is nearby. But on the other hand, also in the picture, we are in the middle of three big cities, Helsinki, Turku and Tampere. So it's quite easy to come us. Also in a picture you can see our floorball facilities, floorball halls in a right down corner, and actually the team Finland who is playing today, they had training camp just 2 weeks ago, so they have like a preparation camp in Eerikkilä 2 weeks ago. About the summit overall. So we have done the summit twice before, but this time, first time like in connection with World Championships. And actually at this point, it's very good to say big thanks to International Floorball Federation, Swedish Floorball Federation, and all staff who are working with us here in Malmö. And also big thanks to Eerikkilä's staff who are working here and actually before the event. Thank you. Thank you. Big thanks to you. I'm very excited about the summit today. If I see the program, the speakers, and the topics, I'm quite sure that it's going to be very, very interesting day. So, I wish you all great summit day. Enjoy, and thank you.
Thank you, Antti, and thanks to Eerikkilä for organizing this great event. Today, we are talking about floorball from different perspectives, and during our intermissions, we get to enjoy the ongoing championships games live here at the venue. Before we start, let's have a quick look at the program to see what is up today. First up, we will hear about maximizing engagement and tips on how to create a learning environment and community in the future from Ilkka Halava. After that, we will have our first intermission and championship match, Latvia versus Finland. In our second period, John P. Liljelund and Andreas Harnesk will enter the stage with their topic, Why Game Understanding is Much More Important Than Winning. And shortly after that, we will have our second intermission, and we get to enjoy this championship game, Sweden versus Slovakia. And finally, in our third period, we will have Ilkka Halava sharing the stage with the magical Kauppi twins, and we will hear about their journey to become one of the best players in the world. So, as you can see, our table is set for a very delicious day of floorball today. And without further ado, shall we get started? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Futurist, Foresight coach and the CEO of Prime Frontier, Ilkka Halava. Welcome.
Thank you, Gabriel, and thank you for having me here. Wonderful to see you in this location where big events take place. I'm trying to take you to a tour to the near future and maybe even further. As a futurist, I try to tackle problems before they become problems. And therefore, we are talking about engagement, which is a very challenging topic, let me tell you that. I will try to take you through the ideas of how to create engagement in times when engagement has been seen a 20 years decrease in Western societies, and before that, let me point out some key issues about the future, where all the sports organizations are actually facing the same kind of challenges, in despite of the fact where we are located. Now, first of all, it should be good to understand that in 24 days, the year 2050 will be closer than the year 2000. We have been looking backwards for a long time. We have been looking at the year 2000. We have been looking at all those challenging years. We have seen financial crisis. We have seen this and that, and all the things have led to the point where we are analyzing the history but not looking at the future. And the point is that I would like to suggest that let's turn our faces towards 2050 and understand that there's a lot to be taken care of. There's lots of things that we need to build, and there are lots of things where we have the invitation to be the builders. How to build is something that I try to help whenever we are working with different kind of organizations in Finland and also in Europe. Now, what we are witnessing is that we saw this steady linear growth era ending, and we are in the shaky, disruptive decades. So until 2050, there will be no railroad track ahead. So we have to take care of clearly planning and planning in a way that we can create the things that we want to have constructed. We are slowly going away from structural public funding towards mission-driven resource magnets, meaning that we will need to see our sports organizations as those magnets, because there will be clearly lack of funding for several types of organizations if you look at the public funding side. So we have to raise the awareness of floorball. We have to raise the awareness of sports that can take place inside when we have, for example, lots of problems with climate. We have lots of problems with the sports facilities that are somewhere out there. And then again, we are seeing clearly the rise of fourth sector practices, meaning that when people create things by themselves without the funding, without the structures, it's more authentic. It's more driven by energy. It's people meeting people. That type of community strength is something that we most likely are looking for. And then again, we will naturally see the digital first logic in creating just about everything, meaning that when we want to see people meeting face to face, we have to have structures where digital connection comes first. And for many organizations, especially smaller ones, that's still a challenge around the world. And then slowly we are going to the real-time fast openness when everything should be available. When somebody wants to come here, they should find instantly every single organization, tickets, what have you, to come here. While we had this era when you had to have lots of knowledge, lots of patience to find everything that you need. Now, thinking of prediction, just to point out from my profession, a couple of words. Now, prediction is not something that is done in a strategy meeting in the beginning. It's something that actually our brain does every single second. It's the primary function of neocortex, which means that basically when the times get turbulent, when the times are not linear, when the development is not linear, we have to understand that it's a question of mental well-being to understand that we need to have good planning. We need to have plans that especially our younger players need to understand that yes, we have a target, we have a direction, we have clear idea of where we are going. And this is going to be a question that is not understood yet, but we are slowly starting to see that this is the primary question when we are talking about mental wellness. Now, basically, when we look at the butterflies, we always see the beauty of a butterfly, but we seldom like to think about the painful transformations that the butterfly takes before it enters that stage. Now, most likely we are having growth pains. We will have times when we have to fight for audiences. We will have to fight for funding. We have fight for new players. We see some kind of drops here and there. But then again, it's really nice to see that floorball, at least in Finland, seems to be passing those difficulties and slowly heading towards to be a butterfly. Basically, we will see an era where we all have to, for example, think about artificial intelligence and understand that during the next 5 years we will see lots of changes when we talk any kind of value production. Therefore, just to give you a peek of what there might be coming, is that we will have AI assistants of various sorts. And if there would be one recommendation from my profession to all the sports organizations, is to think about an AI supervisor taking care of all the legal questions. Would make sense, right? To think about AI personal trainer, because slowly we are actually seeing that AI applications can collect all your health information and give you good advice of how to train, when to not train. If you had a serious party last night, then AI trainer would say that don't go to the gym, go and have a steady walk at the park. Then again, we will have an AI simulator, and this is all of this is happening during the next 2 years, most likely. Next 2 years, during the next 24 months, where we can see that if we like to make scenarios, then we will have an application that makes them really bright and clear. And then again, we will have an AI date agent. People will be dropping Tinder, and taking something else instead. And finally, an AI buyer. So if you want to buy a perfect perfect pair of shoes, then most likely you will not do it by yourself during the next 5 years. You will have an AI buyer. So that will be the direction. And just to point out that when technology takes serious leaps, it's not about looking at the threats. It's about understanding how we as sports organization managers and directors use the best of it. And this would be the direction, clearly. Now, when we think about sports and sports organizations, there's a way of thinking that we want to have like long routes for players. We like to plan the way that during, for example, 5 or 10 years, our players develop, and therefore we tend to look at the development issues as linear. Now, this was my question some time ago when I was working with people and organizations that look at young people who end up in jail, end up doing something which is not productive, which is not legal. So we saw that okay, there are things that you know, you take the wrong path and it goes slightly wrong, then you meet somebody and you go further wrong. But then there's a kind of a tipping point where you do something maybe criminal and then you drop. Then your life changes in a serious way. So my question as a futurist was that, okay, if we have negative tipping points, can we have or can we identify positive tipping points? And yes, we can. We have seen this during the last 10 years, that there are actually 5 of them. So my suggestion is that when you think about player development or people development or development as human beings, basically, we should look at the tipping points, the positive tipping points, and understand that if there is a possibility that something changes dramatically for the good, then most likely it's not linear, it's a kind of a one-shot thing there in the middle, which should be of interest to all of us. Well, the first is that if young people have, in their school time, have this team shirt experience. If you have the kind of a team shirt where you have the same color, you have the same team logo, you have your number and your name back there on the backside of that shirt. Then you start playing in a team, and for the rest of your life, you never seem to be feeling that you are a loner. Kids with the team shirt experience never feel that they do not belong. They just simply think that if I'm alone, then I don't have the right team, so I should look at the next team. So it's a structure of mindset that changes where you don't kind of fall off, but instead you are always there just looking for the next team and next group of people that you belong to. Now the second is caretaking experience. We found out that if there is a possibility for a young person, a kid, to take care of a small animal, naturally with your parents there, but if you take care of a small animal, and then it's up to you whether you can provide the food, the water, all the health issues, or the small animal might die. If you feel that responsibility, you will never get back to kind of laissez-faire kind of thinking where you don't care about things. So it's something that where you understand that it's my responsibility deeply to take care of the small life, which means that if you have this kind of experience, then having your first child in the family is totally different, then you don't have the kind of a big leap there because you had it with the small animal, with your pet. The third one is organizer experience. Many of us actually are entering parties but not arranging them. So if young people are taking care of arranging nice events for somebody, not taking part in the fun side, but they are simply taking care of the arrangements, and even if they are big one or heavy one, then still they would feel that they are delivering to somebody else. That also changes us. That makes us see that things are created. They are just not happening. They are created, and that changes us for good. Then the fourth one is co-creating experience, where most of us here also in Malmö Arena, most of us have been doing some kind of teamwork. But in a way, especially in Finland, where we see that if we are given a project, then we and you know there are like three of us, like us three, then very fast we kind of divide that project. So you would take part A, and you would take part B, and I would take part C, and then we go and work alone, and then we get back to the place, and then glue the things together. But we are not actually co-creating. And the co-creating experience means that if you are saying something, then I find it inspiring, and then continue from that, and then you continue from my thought, and then it's like a spiral that goes up. We have the generations that felt that the teamwork is like 1 + 1 + 1, and then there are the generations that should be experienced that 1 + 1 + 1 might be 2,000. Like in Supercell, for example, where you have the artist type of guys that co-create things. So there's a big difference between a kind of traditional teamwork and co-creation. And finally, the fifth one might be the most important thing, is that we have seen that between the ages of 12 and 17, in many different kind of sports, the real stars actually have the same experience, that they can share that there was, during those ages, there was one adult that strongly believed in them. If you had like one adult that would definitely see you as a growing star, that one person made the difference. So if we simply have like masses there, junior players, lots of them, like 70, and we feel that okay, hopefully there's somebody that will rise above the others. That's not the way to see that. If we can, as for example coaches, see that there's a person and we strongly believe in them, then that's the thing that actually raises the juniors to their own path towards excellence. But there are so to speak 5 tipping points at least, and we have just started that a couple of years back. So we believe that there are more tipping points, more positive tipping points to be found. But the thing is that it's a kind of a game changer in people's lives, and that's something we should be looking at. Now then, let's look at the digital futures and point out something that where we have to act. And as being a person that I'm far from being negative towards technology or development itself, I'd like to point out that we are seeing something that is truly disturbing. We have seen in social media that how art is like swallowed by entertainment, and then again distraction, and then growing into addiction. But I don't think we understand what this actually means. We are in a situation that a normal, basically an adult checks his or her social media 352 times per day. We are looking for the dopamine reward. And we are doing that in a scale that if we then take a life of 90 years, then 20 years of that will be going to scrolling if we don't do anything differently. Now, when we are seeing players who cannot focus in playing, it's most likely because we have this dopamine flow, which is totally too much for human beings, where we should understand that the dopamine receptors are actually red the whole day long. They are overused. They are something that our DNA has not been prepared for. Which means that then if you go and to the rink and you should focus for 45 minutes, then that's too long. You cannot do that. You have taught your brain to cut the session to pieces, and then you can focus 10 or 15 seconds maybe. But then again, you lose your focus. We are doing something for ourselves where we should understand what that means. And that's not the only thing. That's not the only thing, folks. It's like Ted Gioia said beautifully that in athletics we saw the slow traditional culture, play a sport, go to watch a sport, and then gamble. So you like to kind of speed up things. You saw newspapers use them, then to multimedia, and then to clickbait. That's what we are doing to ourselves. Film and TV, video, then reels and shorts, albums, tracks, and then TikToks. Images, gallery wall, on phone, then scroll on a phone. Short text, finally, swipe on app. Like what we are doing is that here is that we are seeing a development that actually makes everything faster. We are seeing something where development actually just speeds up things. And now we are in a situation that in the digital world we have to make choices. We have to clearly say no to some things and understand that there's more to life than simply increasing its speed. It's time to make choices. And if we talk about floorball players, we definitely have to make clear that it's impossible to operate with the kind of ability to focus if you are doing that. Most likely you are not anxious to win because you are more or less tired of all the dopamine strikes there. So now we are seeing teams that where the players actually agree that nobody uses social media 2 hours before the game. Makes sense, right? But my point is that don't use social media on the game day. And then again, the next phase, don't use social media all the time during the other days, but simply restrict that to some areas, some time slots during every day max. And this is something that where the deterioration of the mental abilities of players will decrease if we don't do anything here. So this is something we have to do. So whatever you are not changing, you are choosing. So if you keep doing that and still wonder why kind of your ability is decreasing, then you're doing it yourself. Now, as a mental coach, I tend to say to all the people all the players that I've been coaching that in so many cases, it's not about something that you build, but something that you should dismantle because all those burdens that you have, they were never yours. So it's like there are things that are collected from various age phases that we have during our development, and we are carrying stuff, presumptions of somebody else, some nasty comments, what have you, all these kind of burdens. But we are still getting burdens from the digital sphere, from social media, and we should try to understand that no, it's not our job to carry them. If we want to be top players, then we should understand that there's something happening in a totally different way in 2023 and 24. So now we have to make choices. So drop off the burdens that are not yours. Where does it lead to? Eventually, we understand that we have been gathering up in the digital sphere, in the digital environment, more strongly after COVID. That's clear. But then obviously, when we see that the burdens of that behavior comes too big, then we eventually, we are getting closer to the brink where we have to kind of fall off or then change something. And I've tried to say for some years now that if you are running an organization, a union, or any kind of organization where people meet face to face, then we need to understand that there are three types of communities that everybody needs. Sooner or later, we will realize that there's one. The first one, which is educational. So you need to have people that you meet face to face at work or at school studying. But the basis there is not like working, it's educational. The place where you learn should be organized as a face-to-face group. And then the second face-to-face group is entertainment. It's not simply, you should not use entertainment from your phone or from your laptop. It's the idea that you should form a kind of an entertainment group. You should go to games, you should go to see ice hockey, you should go to theater, you should go to nightclubs together. You should really focus on organizing the entertainment group. Sounds funny now because we have been doing exactly the opposite. We have we've been cutting ourselves out of those groups, and then we stay at home, and then we look at the movie by ourselves from our laptop. So we should do exactly the opposite. And then the third thing is that the training groups, training networks, is something where we need to have a face-to-face group, a group of people that commits themselves to doing some kind of sports weekly, maybe two, 3, 4 times per week. After these 5 years, artificial intelligence will be solving, especially in the healthcare sector, many of our questions where the fatal and really serious illnesses will be wiped out. We are reaching an era where we see that the life expectancy goes closer to 120 years, and this will happen quite soon. This is the development of next 5 years. Then we start to understand that this is the future. Now the question is that can we survive with our existing amount of sports and exercise if we are going to live 120 years? No, most likely not. We are most likely not moving ourselves enough. So understanding that our existing societies are built for more or less 60 years of lifespan. We should understand that it's going to double, so we have to do, again, structural changes in order to meet the future requirements. So basically, when you start to build something, it makes sense to kind of understand that the previous era was about Tetris. Most of you have played Tetris, I presume. You saw the things falling off from the top, different shapes of blocks, and then you kind of rush yourself to the left and to the right. You try to catch them and put them to the place. And in order to be a totally good example of previous type of work, then if you got your line full, then it just simply disappeared, poof, meaning that you don't have meaning anywhere. Now, when we are building organizations for tomorrow, then it's about Minecraft, where if you have been playing that, you know that in Minecraft you don't have anything there. You just have digital sand, until there's a group of people that builds up everything from bottom up. They build every single rule, they build every single idea, and kind of a game idea there. If they don't, then nothing happens. There's nothing. But when they build, they are doing it bottom up, and they are building every single structure in that game. So pretty much that's what we've been doing. That's what we are going to be doing when we are building the next sports organizations. We will not have audiences. We will not have people who simply pay to attend somewhere. Because in the 80s or in the 90s we were living the four people era, where organizations created something by themselves and then threw the things to the market, hoping that it would fit. In many cases it didn't. Between 1990 and 2000 we were living the with people era, when organizations understood that they have to take the people who are supposed to use the services and products to the planning team, to the planning phase. And that's why the quality of various things increased in such a speedy way between 1990 and 2000. And now we are living the by people era, where every single organization is basically a platform. It's nothing more than a platform. It collects data, modifies it, and gives it back to the people on that platform, giving a clear restriction of where the playing field is, and then transparency for example, taxation organizations to see what kind of transactions that are taking place on that. That's the form of an organization of a future. Slowly, work transforms itself towards meaningful participation in value creation circles, which means that many of us are not producing that much, but we are part of some value creation organization where we are doing the small things in a right place and they are meaningful, which should kind of give us the idea that all the people who want to participate in a sports organization to do something should be accepted, should be taken in, and we should understand that it's not a sports organization is not a place where you have like 5 or 6 really active members running the show, and then there's audience, but instead that there is a participation possibility for everybody. We have a serious threat, though we are seeing at the moment the death of hobbies, where we should understand that no, you should not be grinding everywhere. You should not try to make a living or make some kind of financial transaction base of every hobby that you do. So keep looking at that, because we are seriously trying to turn our hobbies into work. And this doesn't make sense in a longer run. Finally, young people tend to ask me in the era of artificial intelligence and all the technologies, like, what should I do? Then I basically try to say that, be you, the world will adjust. Not a big deal. We are looking for personalities. We are looking for authentic people. We are looking for creativity. So this is what you need to be doing. People say time changes things. It doesn't. You have to change them yourselves. We have to be the creators from 25 to 2050. And then let's look at the Frontier Community Clinic. Now the base here for understanding engagement. These topics so far have been crucial, but then I would like to share with you 13 items, or let's say topics, where the background is the following. As a futurist and with my research team of 8 people, we noticed in 2000 that engagement is slowly decreasing in society. Engagement as a phenomena. So it's not just sports, it's everywhere. The engagement in marriages drops. First, the rise of divorces, then the decrease in divorces because there are not that many marriages anymore. Then you saw that people like managing directors would switch over to the competitor if the price is right. So you actually didn't see that much commitment in anywhere. So commitment slowly decreasing means that the right question to ask in order to build future organizations is that in time of decreasing engagement, what are the things that people are looking for by themselves in organizations? So what are the things that people still need desperately, more or less, when they are looking for engagement that is not forced? That's something that they themselves deeply need. And we found 13 topics that are the things that people are looking for when they are trying to find organizations where they want to be, work, and spend their leisure time. Let me take you through them. First of all is tradition. People look at organizations where tradition exists and is available, where you can actually see something that you can find your roots, or your family roots, or your roots of profession. The people look for organizations that that clearly kind of show and point out that this is the tradition. This is the thing that we value. This organization is proud of its roots, and they are displayed in a way that if you are new in town, for example, then just join in, and you can share them with us. The second one is action. In Finland, we saw that between 2005 and 2015, especially, there were lots of organizations that simply asked for participation in a way that come to be our audience or send us money. Then they started to invite people to be in an action role of some sort. As simple as that. If you look at Red Cross Finland, then you saw that that they had this fund for catastrophic aid, and previously they asked for people to donate simply, but then they create these collecting boxes and gave people the role that you can go out there in the street corners and work for us. You can be one of the Red Cross teams. So you would be one of the Red Cross people as such. And then people felt that, okay, this is a major improvement. Now I can have a role here, and they jumped out. And lots of people went to collect money with the collection boxes. So we have to think about the action roles that we are offering. In many cases, in organizations, we don't have any. But we should rethink this, because we can easily find them if we want. Then future. It's a sad thing that many organizations actually used to have a clear target, a clear destination statement, a clear idea of what kind of environment we are building, where we are making it, where we are creating the change, what kind of end result we are looking for. Now the end results, the targets, the destination statements, they lack. They lack big time. So there are lots of organizations that have the way of saying that, or they are simply like rolling on and hoping that this organization does not fall apart when I'm leading or during my time. But they are not targeting anywhere. So if you don't have a future, then you are simply lacking the one of the basics in organization structure, and it's a clear target. It's an idea of why we are doing what we are doing. Second one is people. Now, if we look at people, then there are many organizations where you can see, if you go to their web pages, you see just one person, one face there, and that might be the leader of some sort. What you should have is to show that if your organization consists of socioculturally different people, then show them, give them a voice of the organization, because people are looking at human beings that kind of resonate them. So if you have like one person, your chances are low. If you have 10 different people there, if you give them the role of being advocates of some sort of the organization, then people easily find the person that resonates to them, and they might join. Then power. Many organizations actually have some kind of power. They are users of power somewhere, but we are not telling that to outside the organizations. If we are using power, then that should be made transparent. If we are the ones, for example, that the ministries ask advice or comments, then that's use of power. We should be sharing that and telling people that if you join our organization, you can join the power circle where we are actually influencing this and this and this kind of work that we are doing. Then events. We seem to have organizations that have a couple of events by year, or let's say yearly, that are created and designed so well that people actually want to join the organization and stay there simply because they have the events. Meaning that if we feel that arranging training sessions and games is the thing, then we are not doing all the possible things that we could be doing. Now, events might be stronger than we actually presume. We have organizations that whenever one yearly event is coming to the end, then they are asking when the next event will take place, and they will make bookings straight away, because they feel that this is the bridging thing that actually keeps me here. Then symbols. there's a power of symbols that we don't clearly seem to understand. It's the power of symbol that you would like to have in your shirts. There, Andreas has this nice floorball symbol, which gives us strength, especially during those days that we are not feeling that strong. You should have the symbol, giving you the power for the days that you feel upset somehow, you are somehow down. When you are feeling weak, then you should feel that the symbol which should be created in a clear way, not with the idea that it should be more abstract, so that everybody could have their ideas of power and strength somehow fitted in. So instead of having a picture of a bear, you should have a symbolic bear somewhere, for example. There are people that join organizations simply because of the symbol, which is I think quite amazing. Then finally, location. If you have a premises for your sports organization and you have like empty slots there, nobody's using the place, then start using it. If your people can arrange their birthdays in the premises, if they can have their bigger events and invite people, from the outside, not knowing floorball, then please do that, because it's misuse of buildings if we don't see that the people tend to be proud of their locations. They tend to be proud of their organizations if they can say that I can arrange my parties here. This is a meaningful day for me, so let's have a cocktail here in our sports organization's headquarters. Makes sense, right? Heroism is a difficult question in Finland, especially where we like goalies and defenders, but not that much attack generally. But there are always people who come to an organization with very good talents and abilities, and they want to understand that is there a possibility here to make history? Can I create in this organization something that nobody has never done before? Can I do something that nobody has ever even thought about before? Can I do something, that benefits so many people? But basically, organizations are built in a way that heroism is not possible. It's like it's not an option. Most organizations basically say that like stop running. You should be in the organization for the first 5 years, and then stay calm, show patience, and then you might be able to do something bigger. And that doesn't make sense. We see many people who would like to come to an organization but feel that the organizations are too slow. They are too passive. You cannot do what you can do, so they go and put up a company and go somewhere else. Status: if you have possibility of creating statuses that makes sense to people, then that might be a game changer. In Finland, we have this CMI crisis management initiative, where they are teaching young people to be the ones slowing down aggressors at school. So if there are two people fighting, then there are people who are trained to be there in the situation, calming the opponents down, and they are called Lennons, coming from John Lennon. So they have the status of being a Lennon. So whenever there's a fight going on, and these guys start to approach, then people say that, okay, Lennon's coming, and then normally it starts to calm down. So everybody understand that okay, there are people, there are young people who have clear statuses, and it works nicely. Knowledge. People expect that if you are, well, if you're a floorball organization, then you should be the first ones to know about the big things happening inside floorball. So they expect to have, you know, the primary information so that you would be the expert when somebody else is talking to you, not belonging to the floorball society. So if somebody is like asking like, oh, when does this World Floorball Tournament start? Then you would be able to say that yes, it's today, and it's 11:30. That's the first game, and it's Latvia against Finland. You should be able to have that knowledge. So we should be good distributors of knowledge to our members. So if there's a sports organization membership, then that should mean that you are the one knowing the things that other people don't. Again, makes sense, right? Financial benefits. There always should be a possibility of having some kind of a financial benefit. If you're in an organization, if there is then a possibility that, for example, the organization is buying a total of 20 sets of goalie equipment with a lower price, then you know that would be the financial benefits. So if you have any, then you should, you know, make them openly seen. If you don't, then arrange them. But you should have financial benefits, because if you are specialized in floorball, then naturally you would have the channels to, you know, to have really good deals, better deals than nobody could get alone. Finally, the last one, terminology. That's the number 13. They are not in specific order here. They are not arranged here in a way that the biggest one should be the first one. But if you are really effective in a society, you can actually create terminology like golfers have been doing. Or if you think about sailors sailing or ice hockey, then all of us understand that there are sayings that come from those sports. They come from those organizations. So if you can produce terminology that is specifically coming from floorball, and you can kind of add them to the common core of your language, then that's something that is a clear proof of really interesting organization. I know this is the deeper end of the pool. This is the part where if we think about the structures of the organizations of the future, this is the structural part that really seldomly can be seen. But this is the part where the building actually happens. So if we are building organizations with these kind of ideas, then we can see that people enter organizations interested in one of the 13 components, and then they feel that the rest are interesting too. But that's the way that we have actually been fixing organizations in Finland for 20 years now. I started this research project in 2004, ended up in 2006. And now we have been seeing that organizations that lost their memberships a lot, that they were in serious trouble, then we could first make the situation flat and then start to grow them up. So this is not a future hypothesis. This is something that we have been doing in Finland. So we know that it works. And if we are looking for the future organizations, we should do something that we have been talking a lot with people in Eerikkilä, which is also pretty much my home now, because I'm part of the team there, coaching the coaches and giving all the insights of future to everybody who's in Eerikkilä organization. because we want to build Eerikilä as one of the places where future is created and, on top of knowledge, not guessing. Well, I try to kind of summarize of what my feelings would be of what I've been seeing in Eerikilä when we talk with people who are part of the coaching group, part of the coach team, those who are also coaching the national teams. Then the three things that we all share is that we believe in excellence, engagement, and ethics. There's a really good article from Howard Gardner that actually says that you can split the market in many cases to two different groups, where one target is money, markets, and me, which is clearly not something that we would like to have. And then the excellence, engagement, and ethics, where we tend to think that if we are doing the future organizations, if we are building them, then we really have to be looking for excellence. We need to have clear ethics, and we want to create engagement in a way that it's rewarding, is really beneficial, is where organizations that are built in the Eerikilä way, they would be safe, they would be like good to live in, even without the sports, even without the teams, even without the idea of being superiors somewhere. We need to have organizations that are built well in order to build a total well-being perspective. Now, finally, a couple of ideas, just simply before I end here, is that if you are thinking about your ideas of the future, they might be grim, they might be really dark, and there's a reason for that. If you think of your sources of future scenarios, in many cases they come from Blade Runner 2049 or something, where you see, the world after the collapse, where there has been a nuclear war, and then there are just ruins here and there, and then you eat rats or rat burgers. But come to think of that doesn't represent future, actually. That's just simply science fiction. Now, the point here is that if we look at the facts that we know about the future at the moment, it could be, something like this. If you ask astronauts from NASA and ask them to compare our planet Earth from the space, they are looking at our planet Earth from the space, and they said that there's a big difference between the planet Earth in 2000 and in 2020. And the one thing that is different there is that the planet actually is a lot greener. The planet is a lot greener than in 2000. And one of the things that we don't notice is, for example, here that it like in India when they made a world record in tree planting with 200,000 Indian citizens planting 50 million trees in 24 hours. So nobody knows this. And why? Because media doesn't tell us. We don't see these kind of news, but lots and lots of organizations are actually making the planet greener. So most likely the future is something that where we are making the interventions with cities with concrete smaller than today. So we are approaching a phase where the planet coverage is starting to be greener and greener. We are going further away from the science fiction ideas every single day. But it's a question of where to look. So as futurists, we like to look at the real developments and the developments that are not noticed by maybe top media. And this is something where lots of nice things are happening. So, having said all of this, then please understand that this is a question of what we are starting to do, not what we are starting to live with. It's not about destiny, it's about building things. So it's about building engagement. When we are building engagement, we should have clear ideas of how to build, what to build, where to build, with whom. We should have ideas of where to focus, and I tried to say that there are 13 elements that are clearly increasing engagement. There are 13 elements that people feel that they lack these kind of organizations, and these are the organizations that we can actually build. There are things where we have to say no to technology. The development opens up lots and lots of doors, but not every door should be walked through. So we have to make choices. And then we have to understand that the linear part is over, so let's look at the positive tipping points and try to see that interesting things are happening when you actually identify a positive tipping point and then start to use it to implement that. I hope these ideas help you worldwide to create stronger, better organizations. And please understand that we are all invited to be the architects of this era, not its victims. Thank you.
Thank you, Ilkka, for a very interesting start for today's seminar. You can still remain there because we will have next up our crowd's questions. But before we enter the questions, we will have a short commercial break. So, as you heard in the beginning, this event is brought to you by Eerikkilä Sports Institute. Every year, hundreds of floorball juniors come together in Eerikkilä to play in tournaments and camps, which are held in Eerikkilä's top-notch floorball facilities. If you are willing to bring your team to enjoy a high-quality and a high-performance camp in Eerikkilä, we warmly invite you over. Please contact Eerikkilä's sales team to proceed. And then, back from the commercial break, Ilkka, you had a very interesting topics to talk about. Are there any questions on site from the people here for Ilkka? If you have a question, please raise your hand, and I will hand you over the microphone to have your voice loud and clear to the broadcast. Anyone? All right, our crowd is a bit shy in the first period here, but it's totally okay because I have a few questions for you or thoughts for you to comment on. One of the most interesting parts from your presentation for me was in the early part when we were talking about on how our lives have or how the speed of our lives have increased in a very short time lately. You work with the coaches and you give the tips to them. So can you give a bit of insight of your thoughts, what you say to the coaches? Are the coaches and the game developers victims also of this phenomena? Are we developing the game or the players in a bit too fast-paced style?
Elegant question, thank you. Well, the question of speed and the question of social media speed is, I think that they are two separate things, but they are connected to somewhere. We have an environment where coaches most likely have not kind of understood the deep sense or the deep meanings of these kind of developments, where they might be themselves, looking at clickbaits every single day. They are playing with their phones, where we don't actually, well, what I try to say is that first coaches should understand that our brains need to have like waves. They should have the kind of high peaks where they are kind of used 100%, but then they need to have slower times. They should need the in-between times there. That's how our brains actually work. They need to have the time where they end up something and then they prepare for something. And if we are, as coaches, taking away those in-between times, and we fill them, with social media, we go to Instagram and then, do our best to get dopamine, then most likely we are not paying attention to the players' behavior, and we are not understanding that why their focusing slowly deteriorates. The question is also that the process is slow. It is not like falling from the brink, but it's something where we are not performing at our best, and that's the challenge.
Very good thinking. And as a second question, because you're a futurist, and of course we all know that you won't have a crystal ball on your home when you can see like correct or accurate predictions, but because you have worked and you work deep inside the game, I think you have a good perspective on this. How do you personally see the future of floorball in, let's say, 30 years?
Good. Floorball is of interest in many perspectives. I'm a coach. I have the possibility of training coaches. I work with teams. But as a futurist, I have been interested in understanding that floorball is one of the sports where you have a bigger future than in many others. There's a point where people can enter floorball teams quite easily. You have the possibility of creating a variation of 3 versus 3, 4 versus 4, 5 versus 5. You have the possibility of altering the game. And then we will have the climate challenge, which is going to be difficult, for example, for football, for many sports that are generally played outside, where we don't clearly see the structural benefits of creating floorball big. But my estimate is that in 30 years' time, floorball will be one of the biggest kind of mainstream sports in various countries. And depending on the climate issue, there will be faster or slightly slower development. But floorball is definitely one of the growing sports for the future, for the next 30 years.
So we definitely have the potential, so we'll see how it goes. Are there still any questions from the live audience? If not, that's totally okay, but I totally encourage you to break the silence during today, even though this is a Finnish-based production. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's give a round of applause to great Ilkka Halava. So, this is the way we have started the World Floorball Summit of 2024, and the first period is now over, which means that we will enter to follow the ongoing championship game, or there are actually warm-ups now on the way. Team Latvia versus Team Finland, and you will shortly have a link into your chat where you can join the broadcast. So basically, you can copy the link from the chat to your own web browser, and that's the way to get into the game broadcast. And after the game, you can join back into the summit's second period again by choosing the stream for the second period from the IFF app, and that's when we will see again. Thank you for the first period, and see you in the second.